Of the world are on Congress trying to figure out what happens next now that the super committee couldn't make a debt deal. One person who thinks the super failure of that super committee isn't all that bad is Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. He joins us live up close in the newsroom tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, Senator.
My pleasure.
Well, Senator Sanders, you said no deal is better than a bad deal when it comes to the super committee. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely. Bridget, the American people have been very clear that they want to do deficit reduction because we have a $15 trillion national debt. But they don't want to do it on the backs of the middle class, working families, the sick, the elderly, and the children. Now, my fear had been that the Republicans were pretty strong about saying they wanted to make major cuts in Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, at the same exact time as they did not want the wealthiest people in this country, who are doing phenomenally well, whose effective tax rate is the lowest in decades. They didn't want them to pay any more in taxes. They didn't want to end many of these massive corporate loopholes that enable large multinational corporations to make billions in profit and pay nothing in a given year in federal corporate taxes. So if the agreement had said, well, we're going to cut Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security and education, but we're not going to ask the wealthy and large corporations to contribute anything, I think that would have been a very, very bad deal for the middle class and working families of Vermont and America.
Well, now you also say that one thing people aren't acknowledging is the amount the wars are adding to the nation's debt load. How much do you think that's contributing to our overall economic problem?
Well, what's important to understand, Bridget, is the reason we are in the kind of deficit situation we're in right now is under President Bush, we went to war in Afghanistan and Iraq, but we didn't pay for that. We just put it on the credit card. Furthermore, we gave huge tax breaks to the wealthiest people in this country, no offset. And on top of that, we had a Medicare Part D prescription drug program unpaid for. Then you had a recession caused by the greed and illegal behavior of Wall Street, which has significantly slowed down the kinds of revenue that the federal government is collecting. So the bottom line to me is, yes, we have to do deficit reduction, but you have to do it in a way that is fair to working families and the elderly and ordinary Americans, and the wealthiest people and largest corporations are going to have to begin contributing to deficit reduction. It can't just be on the backs of ordinary Americans.
One last question for you tonight, Senator. The president today called to extend and expand the cut in payroll taxes. What are you on that?
Well, I'm ambivalent. I know where the president is coming from is he wants to make sure that the middle class and working families are able to have some money in their pockets in the midst of the recession. He's right about that. On the other hand, I get a little bit nervous about diverting money from the Social Security Trust Fund, which is what a cut in the payroll tax would do. So we're going to work on trying to find another mechanism to provide tax relief for the middle class of this country without diverting money from the Social Security Trust Fund.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Senator Sanders.
My pleasure. Thank you.